You're listening to Soul Growth with me, Jade Stoner. Here we go beyond performance and surface level success and return to your true source of power, you. When you come home to yourself, when you allow your soul to lead, you access a depth of peace, safety and self-trust that success alone was never meant to fulfill, without losing your edge, ambition or vision. You get to live a life that feels as eternally rich as it looks outwardly impressive, and it begins within you. Hello and welcome back to this episode of Soul Growth. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for being here with me. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you this week, I was looking at the list that I've created, and I've got so many great episodes planned and coming your way in the next few weeks and months even. However, none of them felt right for this week. So I checked in with myself and I asked my higher self, what do I need to share this week? Like, what needs to be heard? What is the message? What is the thing? And I started to note down a few ideas, and then one very strongly stood out, and it was like, that is the one that needs to be shared. And it's all about self-acceptance. You know, I was reflecting on some of the lessons that I've really deepened in this year, that I've integrated, and self-acceptance has been a really big one. And it felt very aligned to share with you because I know that's something that you need too, right? We live in this world that is so noisy, and social media, as amazing as it is, it can also highlight to us a lot of real life stuff. You know, there are people living certain lifestyles that are very different to the ones that you and I live, and there are people that are more materially and financially successful, and that's always going to be the case, right? You could be a billionaire, there's always going to be a richer billionaire. That's not the point. There's also a lot of fake stuff out in the world, and whether you're doing this consciously or unconsciously, you're going to be taking in this information and you're going to be reflecting it against your own identity, the way you see yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way you live your life, how much money you earn, what kind of house you live in, and all of the things. And that slowly starts to erode your self-value, your self-worth. And if it's already quite low, it's just going to make it lower, right? So first of all, it's about being conscious of what you're taking in from the world around you, what you're allowing to influence you. I shared in a previous episode how it's really, really important to be mindful of what you're taking in, because even though you may not consciously be paying attention to something, remember that your conscious mind is only responsible for like 95% of how you show up and how you act in life. The rest of it is about your subconscious. That's this big, wide open, like homing beacon, taking in everything and pushing everything back out from you into the world, right? And your subconscious is on 24/7. Whether you're paying attention to it or not, whether you're asleep or you're awake, you know, regardless of what you're doing, it's always taking in the information around you. So it's really important to be mindful of what you're consuming, when you're consuming it. You know, is it empowering? Is it disempowering? And this is why I'm very passionate about not watching things like the news or reading gossip magazines or the newspapers. And as I've said before, yes, there is an element of you need to know what's going on in the world. But guess what? I don't watch the news. I don't read those magazines. I don't read the papers. And I always know what's going on. Why? Because it will always be shown up to you somehow, some way, whether it's you're on social media and you see something, or you walk into a newsagent's and you just glance the front of the newspapers or the magazines. Like, you're always going to know. You always have to consider, how is that impacting you? Like, check in with yourself. How does that make you feel? I noticed a long time ago, it didn't make me feel great, gave me anxiety. I think I shared with you actually in 2020, put on the news for like 5 minutes and just noticed how my body had gone into like fight mode, and I felt anxious and jittery, and it was very, very random. So the reason that I share all of that with you is to say that we're taking in this information all the time, and it can have an impact on how we see ourselves and how we show up in the world and how we feel. And all of that, how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, is the core of everything. It's what builds your lens for how you view the world and what you expect from others, how you expect them to treat you, what you believe is available for you in life, how much ambition you have, what you set for yourself to achieve. All of these things add up. So when you are judging yourself, you're judging yourself against these standards that you're seeing on social media, and you're telling yourself a story. You know, my boobs don't look like that. My face doesn't look like that. My hair doesn't look like that. My body doesn't look like that. You know, whatever the thing is, that is impacting on an unconscious level your view of how you see yourself and whether you are accepting yourself or judging yourself. And judgment, self-judgment, is one of the biggest things holding you back. And again, this isn't necessarily a conscious thing. You may be thinking, but Jade, like, I don't really judge myself. Like, I'm cool, I'm good. But actually, when you start deep in it, you realize, oh shit, yeah, I do judge myself. I don't fully accept myself. So, self-acceptance is the key to unlocking your next level. I'm going to say that again because it's so powerful. Self-acceptance is the key to unlocking your next level. In order to move forward, in order to keep creating, to keep elevating in your life and meeting these new higher level versions of yourself, you have to stop judging the version of you that you are now, the versions of you that you've been in the past, right? Here's the thing. Regardless of what's gone on in the past, you have always done the best you could with who you were and what you had at the time. You know, you don't know what you don't know. So how could you have done better a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, as a child, whatever, not knowing the things that you know now, not having the tools in your toolbox, the understanding, the resources to do the things that you've done now? And maybe there were times that you could have done better because actually you did have the resources and you did have the knowledge, but your ego got the best of you, or your anger, or whatever. How does judging that change it? It doesn't. And here's the thing about judgment. When you judge yourself, you actually are creating a resistance inside of yourself. And that resistance then becomes a barrier between you and the next level of your life that you're working towards. So we need to start to alchemize this resistance. We need to start breaking down that resistance, and the way to do that is through self-acceptance. The resistance that you create inside of you, it triggers your nervous system. It triggers that fight mode, that freeze mode. It creates shame. And you may be able to make some changes and some shifts from a place of shame, but they won't be long lasting. They can't be long lasting because it's coming from the wrong energy, the wrong place, the wrong space. It creates guilt when you're judging yourself. And again, that guilt is adding to that resistance. It's creating that block. When you feel guilty and you feel ashamed about who you are, you may try and move forward in your life, try to get to that next level, but actually what you're doing is just fighting against yourself. You want to move forward, foot on the gas, but you've got this shame and this guilt that's pulling you back. That's the foot on the brake. And so long as you stay in that cycle, you will never create the level of success that you want to create in your life. Or if you do, and you do manage to get there, you're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to find a way to fuck it up. And again, I bring you back to the conscious, unconscious. This isn't necessarily a conscious thing. We're very, very intelligent beings. We're wired very, very smartly. And if you're not aware of how you're wired and how things work, you will trip yourself up. You will sabotage yourself. So you'll find that you get to that goal and then you find a way to fuck it up. We see this in relationships when someone creates an argument. Things are going really, really well and then they create an argument or they pull away. That's your defense mechanisms. That's your survival mechanisms. That's your hard wiring. And this is the work that needs to be done to heal, to change that programming, to change that wiring so that you not just get the thing, but you can keep it too. Learning to accept yourself fully is a part of self-love. That is a part of loving you deeply and unconditionally, like a soul deep level of love. Let's put it this way. If you truly loved yourself to the level that you want and that you desire, would you be judging yourself? Would you be shaming yourself? Would you be guilt tripping yourself? Think about somebody that you love with all of your heart. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a friend. And think about how you interact with them. Think about if they came to you and they shared their goal with you, whatever that may be, whether it's personally or professionally, would you love them, support them, encourage them? Or would you laugh at them and try and make them feel guilty and ashamed for wanting what they want? That level of love and reverence that you give to that person that you love that much, that is the level of self-love that you need to start cultivating within yourself. This changes everything. And self-acceptance is a huge part of that. It's one of the first steps, actually. Because you can't begin to create the change while you're fighting yourself, while you're judging yourself, while you're criticizing yourself. And this isn't about self-acceptance in a way of accepting the life circumstances that you have for yourself right now and settling and staying stuck. But it's about accepting where you are and where you're at, who you are, what you have, and at the same time, focusing on the next level and moving forward and making that change. And when you accept yourself in that way, you're honoring yourself and you get to move forward with compassion. And that's a very different energy than trying to move forward from a place of shame and guilt and judgment. Just take a moment and feel that in your body. What does shame, guilt, and criticism feel like? You probably feel constricted, uncomfortable, a bit ugh. But when you think about love and compassion and honouring who you are and loving all versions of yourself that you've been and who you are, that energy feels expansive. It feels bigger. And that's the energy that you want to create within yourself. That's how you get to your next level. It's about accepting where you are, who you are, and what you have without more. And again, I bring you back to, this isn't about settling and just accepting where you are and staying stuck, but your soul is desiring a next level. But it's about learning to love yourself and accept yourself as who you are and with what you have right now without more. When you learn to love and accept yourself as who you are and with what you have right now, that's the game changer. Because here's the thing. Yes, you're still going for that next level, but you don't need it. You're okay not having that thing, that money, that relationship, that career accolade, that business, that award, whatever it is, whatever that thing is for you, you're okay not having it because you accept who you are. You know that you're good enough. You know that you're enough as you are right now in this moment. And from that place, that space, you get to pursue the thing that you want. And if you get it, cool. And if you don't, cool. Like, I'm okay with the thing and I'm okay without the thing. But I'm gonna have the thing, right? This is the energy of true self-love, that soul deep love. And when you get to that place, that is the game changer. That is the key to unlocking your next level. And this is something that I've been working on for years, but this year it's really come deeply through. I shared with you a couple of episodes ago how this year has been a lot about deepening the things that I already know, and self-acceptance is one of those things. I recognise that because I'm an ambitious, driven person and I've always had big visions, big goals, big dreams, it's very easy to just get caught up in that and then unconsciously always feeling like it's not enough. And even when you get the thing that you want, if it's not the level that you want it at, or if it doesn't quite look the same as what you thought it would be, there's still a low-key, unconscious level of judgment there. Because you're like, yeah, but it took me this long to get there. Or, yeah, but it's not quite what I wanted. Yeah, but. And again, it's about that acceptance. Like, no, like, I'm good. And recognizing that I'm okay as I am. Yes, I want to continue to grow and elevate and create, and I'm okay as I am. And there's an element, a very big element actually, of gratitude that comes in there, right? Being grateful for the things that you have, for who you are, for all of the things that you've overcome, for all of the things that you've achieved to this point. And I still want to get to the next level. I still want to make a next level of income. I still want to have that next level relationship. I still want to get to that next level in my career. You can do those things for you, but understanding that those things don't define you. Again, this is all part of the self-acceptance. And something else that I've noted for years, but has really, I guess, come to light for me this year is I love personal development, right? I love growth. Like I just shared with you, like I've always been ambitious. I believe that you can really be everything that you see inside of yourself, that your soul is guiding you to, that tells you that's available for you, even if it scares the fuck out of you and you don't know how you're going to get there. It's all available. And so personal growth and working on healing and becoming the best version of yourself and all of the things is really important. And I've also become aware that in this constant strive for bettering yourself, I was unconsciously internalizing a narrative that said I wasn't enough. You know, I needed to do this thing to make me something else. That something else being whole or better or wealthier or nicer or whatever, right? And that narrative contradicts the truth that I'm already enough. And it's the same for you, right? You're here listening to this podcast. That tells me that you very likely are listening to other podcasts or reading a book or following some other coaches and mentors, whatever. You are also on the path of soul growth, of personal development, of becoming the best version of yourself, for your children, for your audience, whether that's your fans or your clients or whoever. And take some time and reflect on, are you pursuing and reading and listening to all of this stuff from a place of, I need to do this to fix myself because there's something wrong with me? Or are you doing it from a place of desire? And this is something that I've learned to flip over the years. I recognized that when I was being attracted to a book or a course or a coach, a mentor, whatever, that I was doing it because there was a belief that I needed that thing. So that meant that I wasn't okay without the thing. I needed that thing to make me better in some way because there was something wrong with me. And I've learned to flip that on its head and to catch myself and to ask myself those kind of questions when I'm looking at something. You know, why am I moving towards this? What is the story? What is the intention? What is the goal? What is the purpose here? And if it's coming from a place of, I feel like I need this thing, or it's gonna fix me in some way. And again, you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again. Remember, you're not broken and you don't need fixing. I know I'm not broken and I don't need fixing. Yes, my ego might tell me every now and then that I am, but that's when you catch it and you course correct and remind it, no, I'm not. So it's about not coming at it from those energies, because that's then the energy that you put into it, and that's the kind of energy and results you get out of it, versus, why am I doing this thing? Right, I want to do this thing because I want to be better. Like, I'm good where I am. Like, I love me. I love where I'm at in my life. I enjoy where I'm at in my life. I like where I'm at in my life, whatever. And I want to know what else is available for me. You know, if I have been able to create what I have as the person that I was, what can I create from the level of me that I am now? I think back to like years and years ago and all of the things that I created and I achieved, and all of the things that I did from being an unhealed person and not knowing the things that I know today. And it's like, okay, well, what else can I create? What else is available for me? If I did all these things in the past with all of this trauma and baggage, what am I able to create now from this healed space, from who I am now? And it's the same for you, right? Again, it's about being okay with having the next level that you want and being okay not having it. And when you're okay not having it, that's where the letting go and another level of acceptance comes from. Yes, it's self-acceptance, but it's also just acceptance in general. That's where the surrender comes in. And when you detach from it in that way, that's when the thing will come to you a lot quicker, because there's not that resistance, there's not that block, there's not that thing in the way, right? So if you're not judging yourself for what you haven't achieved, but from the acceptance of who you are right now and where you are right now, what do you want to create? What do you get to create? Again, they're two very different energies. One's expansive, one is contracted. When you accept yourself, you get to let go of the masks that you're wearing. Because why do we wear masks? Well, you wear a mask because you're pretending to be something that you're not, to appease somebody else. But doing things for other people is an old world way of thinking and doing things. We're moving into the space where it's about authenticity and being who you are and doing the things for you. And if you're accepting yourself fully, if you're loving yourself at that level, you understand that you've always done the best you could with who you were and what you had and what you knew. And you accept that. You accept where you are right now. Right now in my mind, I'm seeing a picture that I saw on social media recently of somebody just moving into a home, and in the bedroom was just a mattress and the bedding and like a lamp. We all start from somewhere, and everybody's starting point is different. Everybody's childhood was different. Everybody's karma that they came into this lifetime with is different. Everybody's sole purpose in this lifetime is different, but we all start from somewhere. And thinking about that image of that mattress in the bedroom, it would be very easy to judge that and say, I should have a bed frame. I should have 2 bedside tables. I should have some drawers. I should have this, and that. And whilst that may be true, through another lens, it's about the acceptance. I am where I am. I've moved into this home that I wanted, that I dreamt of. And I have a mattress, and that is a blessing. Hell, when I moved into my house, I slept on the damn floor. And I did not give a shit. Because you know what? I was so grateful to be in my house, knowing where I'd come from. I would have slept on the floor with a dude for as long as it took. It was only for a couple of days until my bed frame was brought here and set up. But can you see the difference, like with the acceptance of it versus the judgment of it? And going back to the resistance that I shared with you, when you're judging it, you're creating this resistance. You push the next step, get into the next level, you push that further away from you because you've created this resistance, you've created this judgment, you've created this block. Whereas from a place of self-acceptance, that's not there, and you get to the next level quicker and faster and easier and more effortlessly. And I don't know about you, but that's definitely the vibe that I'm going for in my life. Done the struggle, done the hard stuff. Like, let's start doing this, like having a bit more ease in our lives. That definitely feels a lot better. So how about creating more of that in your life? So whatever it is, that is the thing for you that you want to achieve, that you want to create, start thinking about how you can bring more self-acceptance into getting there. Forgive yourself for who you've been, for what happened, what didn't happen, for what somebody did, what somebody didn't do. Like, let all of that go. It's in the past. And I say let all of that go, and I do mean it. And I also understand it's not always that easy. You have something that is needed, and anybody that puts you down or makes you feel otherwise needs to be checked. Because all of that stuff also contributes to you judging yourself. When you have a big goal, a big dream, a big vision, and you share that with someone and they start to put you down, that starts to make you question yourself. That questioning yourself is judgment. That questioning yourself is doubt. That questioning yourself is resistance. And if you've got people around you that are treating you in that way, you have to ask yourself, like, are those really your people? Because here's what I've learned in my experience. Your people would never do that. Remember how I was sharing with you earlier to think about someone you love, and how if they came to you with a goal or a dream or a vision, how you would support them and encourage them. That's what you need from your people. That's what you deserve. And here's something really important. So many people seek acceptance and validation from others, but the truth is you need to accept you first. I'm going to say that again. So many people seek acceptance and validation from others, but the truth is that you need to accept you first. Everything starts inside of you, from within you, and everything emanates from that place. So accept yourself and love yourself. Accept the small things, because how you show up for the small things is how you show up for the big things. Self-acceptance is going to give you peace on a deep, deep level. It's going to make you unshakable, because if you accept you, flaws and all, doesn't matter what somebody else is saying to you, or if they're trying to use one of your flaws to make you feel some type of way, to manipulate you into doing something that they want you to do in the way that they want you to do it. Because you have that deep level of self-love and self-acceptance, you are unshakable. And that is power. And having that level of self-power, of owning who you are, all of who you are, accepting yourself and loving yourself, that is everything. And just before I close out, just to remind you that accepting stuff does not mean settling. No. We don't do settling. You don't do settling. You deserve better. So accepting stuff doesn't mean settling. Far from it. It just means accepting who you are, where you are, and what you have right now, and moving forward, moving towards your next level from that place of self-acceptance. So that's it for today's episode. I trust that this is something that you needed to hear, because that's what my higher self, that's what my spirit team told me. And it's such an important concept, full stop, but definitely something to deepen and integrate at this time of year as we are rolling to the end of 2024 and moving into 2025. Think about how different 2025 will get to be for you from having this level of self-acceptance. And just to reiterate, in the small things and the big things, it's in all of it. It's not a pick and mix around here. So I will see you in the next episode, and until then, big love. Mwah. Thank you for joining me on Soul Growth. There's something in this episode that was meant for you to hear. Whatever it activated within you, trust it, act on it. And remember, it's all soul growth.